right, you guys. Welcome to a very special edition of 3-Card Thursday with the Mountain Medium. I have laid out for all of us what is traditionally known as a Celtic cross. This is a spread used by many to go into forecast or current energy space. So there are 10 cards sitting in front of us. I'm using the Mirror of the Soul, Aleister Crowley's deck. They're a really hard-hitting, deep deck. So typically in the art of the tarot, if you can see the entire spread, here's what happens. There's a card in the center with a card that crosses. That is current energy crossed by an interference or an awareness needing to be created. At the foundation is our foundation in moving forward what we consider. The card to the left is what moves behind. So what is energy presently moving out? What sits atop is crowning or things to think about moving forward. Then we have the cast ahead for a week or so down the road. And then we have our hopes, how other people perceive us, our fears, and the outcome. Now, this is a standard way of reading. This is how most people start out learning to go into the predictive space. What I have asked for in this particular spread is what's presently upon us and what's leaving us and what we're leaving behind in 2016. So here we go. Let's take a look at current energy. The Two of Cups. 2 is about having faith. Cups have to do with our heart space. So having faith in love restored, having our heart space filled, holding on to faith while our heart's desires are being answered. It is about having faith in our own love and giving ourselves the love we need, right? It's about filling up our cup. It's about filling up our heart space. So right now, a lot of us will probably be thinking about, after the shift-kicking year we've had in 2016, what we choose to do. And it's falling into our heart space, which is aligned with our 5th dimension coming in. So here is the energy that crosses. It is the Princess of Wands. So Wands are about our environment, our hearth, our home, our work. And when the princesses show up, that is emotional energy, right? So the Princess of Wands is beginning a journey of stepping into a space of, this is what I will create from a really feeling perspective, right? So Wands are hearth, home, and work. When the court cards show up, it's about taking steps to take charge. So when the Princess of Wands comes in, we're starting to draw some very firm boundaries and starting to create direction and momentum in our life. So we're moving into this spot from an emotional standpoint, whether we're masculine or feminine energy down here, we're moving into a spot where we're starting to move into command space. If I'm a being created by Source and I'm as powerful as I'm led to believe, here are the things that I want to create. So notice how it comes in with a cup card. So we're from a really emotional, heart-centered space. We are designing what it is that we love to do, wish to create, how we wish to be, and really folding into our heart space as 2016 comes to a close. So at the foundation, the first step, and the Tower card has arrived. Now, the Tower card is one of the major arcana, and what this symbolizes is a huge dust up. It's depicted as a fall from grace in other cards. And what this means is that our foundation has been rattled and that it's sitting in the foundation. And the way 2016's behaved, it means that our foundation has been shaken, rattled, and rolled. And what I ask people to remember when having a view at this card is that we're clearing out. That's why things collapse, is because they're based on old energies, stale energies. So the universe will come along and just dust things up. I mean, we take a look at how many souls have left the planet this year, how many people are dissatisfied this year, how many people have had really tough stuff come through the door. It's rattling our foundation. And I know, but feel, but know that it's because we're moving into fifth dimension, which is our heart space. So we have to clear out old patterns, old thoughts, old beliefs, and it's coming with a real dust up. So there's a lot of storm and collision going on right now, right at the very foundation of our existence. So not surprising this card has shown up. So let's look at what's moving behind over the next week or so. So remember, time is relative. We've created it, right? So this may be happening now, or we notice that we're going through this space just recently. So the Empress card has shown up, and she's the third card in the Major Arcana. The third card in the Major Arcana, the Empress, is another feminine, emotional card about birth and creativity. And when I do reads, I really put my feelers into there as to whether this card really belongs in the past or is moving behind us. And when we think about it, we've had a lot of dust up, and it is creating the birth of what we want, what we don't want, leaving behind. We're coming out of a very tight tunnel, so to speak, and moving into daylight over the next week or so. So we really are leaving 2016 behind, and we're coming out into a rebirth. 3 is one of our most magical numbers on the planet, you guys. 3s is our karmic law, right? Good things happen in 3s, bad things happen in 3s. We're masculine, feminine, divine energy combined. 3 is our foundational number down here. So know that over the next few weeks, we're leaving the dust clouds behind. We're moving behind from a birthing period. And that's what shift and change does, is it births us anew, right? So really know that over the next few weeks, we're moving out of transition from shift storm to birthing. We have heard, I've never experienced it myself, right, you guys, but we hear the tales. Birth is uncomfortable. It can be downright painful. And yet what's produced at the end of it is one of the most magical creations ever imagined down here, right? So we're giving birth to some big babies down here, you guys. Whatever we've been working really hard on to create in our heart space is being birthed, and we're moving past that over the next few weeks. So let's look at the things to think about as we move forward. We've had the Prince of Swords. So swords are our emotions, you guys. Emotional dust-ups. If you notice, the card is really cloudy. So we've got a lot of emotion running through our headspace right now. And Prince of Swords, princes are our masculine energy, drawing boundaries, standing in firmness, collision, right? So when we look at masculine energy in a stereotypical sense, and I can own it, I'm stereotyping, princes or males get one-track mind. So very focused on clearing out. This means now more than ever, be focused on the emotions coming up. Be very determined in drawing boundaries, putting our foot down and clearing a path. So if you've noticed thoughts recently going to, I want this to end, I'm creating a decision that will cause this ending, I'm standing in firm boundary, I'm trusting my emotions, and this is how I feel, and I'm going to express that in a very healthy manner. This is the card that we've been thinking about and where our headspace has been at. Emotional dust up, emotional turmoil, a clearing is needed, right? And combined with the Tower card, that's a lot of powerful emotion going on right now, you guys. So let's look at what's coming ahead in the next week or so. The Chariot. Wow, you guys, look, 3 major arcana cards showing up for 10 out of 10 cards right now. So very powerful. It'll be interesting to see if there's any more major arcanas showing up. These are the greater secrets of the soul, where the minor arcana is the lesser secret of the soul. So our Chariot forging ahead over the next few weeks. Chariot is the fight for what's fair, right, and balanced in our world. Becoming our own champions, standing up for ourselves, sticking up for ourselves, fighting for what it is we love, who we love, and who we are on this planet. It means that you are stepping into boundary space and becoming your own champion. And you know what? When you look at these pictures, right? I'm a big picture girl. So when you sit and have a look at the cards that have shown up, there's a mass dusting up going on right now. And we're falling in and taking charge and moving into our heart space. And the only way we can do this is by having these dust storms around us to create the shift that is necessary to give birth to our true selves and stand up on our own. So moving into our hopes, and I always consider the 4 cards at the side energy pushing out over the next few weeks, but here is the hope card. The Hermit. So that's 4, you guys. That's a really strong read when 4 major arcana cards come up. We'll see what shows up next. So this is our hope. The Hermit card is a 9. 9s are about coming out from within. In most cards, this particular deck is quite a Pablo Picasso deck, and the Hermit card is typically seen as a druid or a robed figure with a lantern out front of them. That lantern is not only the light of the universe guiding them, but it is also the light of our soul we're meant to follow. So a lot of us are coming out from a really big hibernation time over the next few weeks. We've been really tucked in, really thoughtful, in a bunch of process. And I love that we've got a 3-headed dog. Typically that's the dog of Hades, right? So we've been through hell and we're moving into the light. And we've become much wiser or sage because of it. And now we're willing to let people see more of our authentic selves. So this is a hope, right? I'm excavating myself. I want the light to dawn. I want the light at the end of the tunnel to not be a train. I want it to be daylight. I'm so much wiser and I've learned and grown so much. So now I want to come out in the clear. So let's look at the next card up the journey, how others perceive us or the perception. 6 of Cups. So another cup card has shown up. That's our heart space. And the 6 of Cups is about going inwards, giving ourselves the love we need. And, there are words associated with these cards, and I use them very loosely, just like I do with the reads. They are an impression, a thought, and feeling gathered from things that I've learned along the journey. So this means that others see us now in a really heartfelt space. They see us being loving and kind to ourselves. They want to share in the joy that we've created in our lives. We've become a little bit contagious, right? How are you getting through this? How are you doing this? My God, I wish I could do what you do. People are starting to see that you're moving into your heart space and that you are being very kind, generous, and loving with yourself. And what that creates is those around you to be very kind, generous, and loving with you. So this is about stepping into a joy space. So we've birthed ourselves through being loving and boundaries, and we've moved into our champion, and the love has really shown up and others are starting to see it in us. And not that we care what other people think, but we're getting the vibration back from the universe. So you may be hearing, my God, you look so happy, or you've just been through this space and you've come up with joy. What have you learned, right? So it gives us a chance to get our teacher on also. So we move into the fears position or worries position. And the 7 of Swords has shown up. This is what I love to say about the 7 of Swords. We feel like we've been banging our head against a brick wall, and instead of the brick wall collapsing, we've been left with a goose egg. What I love about it sitting in the fears and worries position is this is the universe telling us to have no fear, that you've been banging your head against a brick wall, and this time the brick walls are starting to collapse, and you're going to break free of the cycles or patterns, that it's not going to be futile or in vain, right? So here we are already almost to the end of this reading where we see the dust up, we see the birthing, we see the clouds, we feel the futility, we feel like we've been banging our head against the wall, and are we going to break through? And I love that a couple of 7s have shown up, right? We watch for patterns. So over the next 7 weeks, we're hopping off this freaking merry-go-round. We're moving into a new number, which is our 10, our completers. All is well and ending. And now we're setting foot on a new path. So now we look at our outcome. The moon. So that's 5, you guys. That's 5 major arcana cards. 5 is the number of great shift, transformation, and change on a really deep soul level. And we have been through a shift storm. So here's what the moon card is about, you guys. The moon card is the 18th card in the journey of the major arcana, or the greater secrets of the soul. Typically, we see in other cards there's a pool of water right here and a black and white tower. So it's about still waters running deep, being reflective, allowing our intuition to rule. And the moon is also a highly intuitive energy source, right? It goes through cycles. And so we're coming to a very important end to a cycle. And what the moon card also correlates to is the time of the fall and harvest, right? So I believe that through great challenge comes even greater reward. And we have been busy planting our fall bulbs to issue spring reward. So there's a harvest time coming. You will start to see the blessings or the acknowledgements and validations from the universe that you've been doing some really hard work, and it's going to pay off over the next few weeks. So we really are, if you can see the bigger picture, we are moving out of old stale energy, moving into new energy, no longer banging our heads against the wall, and really moving into a space where we've been tucked in long enough, we've been hibernating long enough, and now we're going to come out the other side of this. So watch by the next full moon, you guys. I believe we're moving into Aquarius, and what's going to happen is that we are coming into a very powerful time of year where our fall bulbs will reap the spring reward. So there you have it, you guys. An end of the year 2016, moving into 2017, energetic read for the year. Thanks for stopping by on this amazing 3-card Thursday with the Mountain Medium. Much love.